and welcome. I'm Laura, live Namasturm Yoga. This is going to be a Vin and Yin practice. So thanks for joining me. Today we're going to do a little bit of an easy Vinyasa flow followed by some Yin stretches. So Vin and Yin. We'll flow and move and engage the muscles a little bit at first, but then our Yin stretching portion is going to be very passive where we get some nice long held deep stretches. Let's go ahead and start really simply on our hands and knees in cat and cow. And this is really easy flow. Try to follow the breath. Inhale to cow pose, swayed back, head and tail lift, chest and belly drop. Exhale to cat pose, arch the spine, let the head drop down, back and forth. So I'm a fan of vigorous Vinyasa flows, but I am also a fan of finding balance in your practice and in your life and in your practice arc, right? So sometimes we want a vigorous yoga practice, but sometimes we need to slow it down a little bit. And I think that using a different form, such as Yin, or even just taking a gentle, easy approach to a flow practice can give you a different perspective, really, on your practice, but also it can give your body a little bit of a breather. From here, let's just simply take the right leg out to the side and take the right arm up for a gentle twist. If it feels comfortable to let this top shoulder fall back and the head lift, feel free, but you can keep it real small. So just let your body tell you how far it wants to go today. And then coming back through center, we'll do the other side. Right knee down, left leg extends out, left arm up and twist. All right, and then hands and knees back to the floor. Let's walk the hands back towards the knees, and we're going to inhale, reach the arms out and up from our knees, and then as we exhale, we're going to drop back to a child's pose, but we're going to let the hands come to the feet. So drop your heels to your hips, forehead to the floor. Inhale, rise back up. And again, just following the flow of your breath. So I encourage you to work with an Ujjayi practice. One more time. And then we're just going to hold in our child's pose for a few breaths. You can keep your hands by your feet if you like, or you might choose to take the arms forward and lengthen them on the floor. And then let's spread the fingers, engage the arms enough so that they lift up off the ground. Lift the hips enough so that you can tuck your toes, but move the heart back again so that we have lots of length from the hands to the spine all the way to the hips. And then just let the knees gently float off the ground. And then as you become ready, start to straighten them. So you just shift right into downward facing dog. Adjust your foot position as needed and maybe take a little time to pedal through the legs. Keep the fingers spread and the hands pressing forward and down. This is where our yoga mat is really important. If we didn't have that stickiness against the underside of our hands would just slip right out from underneath us. So really take advantage of your mat here as you root your hands down. It's going to help you lift the hips higher and build that extension through the spine. Now let's let's just easily walk the feet to the top of the mat, bringing them all the way up by the hands. Keep the knees soft. Let the upper body hang, sway, dangle for a moment, and then bending the knees maybe even a little bit more. Start to roll up through that spine, stacking. Let the arms dangle and the head hang until the very end, and then shoulders come into place and head comes up on top of the neck last. Pull your shoulders back and down a couple of times. And then inhale, reach the arms out and up. Exhale, let's swan dive forward over the legs, leading with the heart. Bend the knees at the bottom. Inhale, roll on up, and then just follow the breath. We're going to do this a couple more times, rolling through the whole body. So this probably feels pretty similar to what we did on our knees earlier when we were dropping back to child's pose, but now we're on our feet. That's the main difference. And then the next time you end up in a forward fold, go ahead and allow yourself to stay. Let's step the right foot back, lower the right knee down, extend your foot behind you, and we're going to come on up for a low lunge. We do want to make sure that our left knee is above our ankle and that our heel isn't tucked way back by our hip. If the knee is too far forward of the ankle, it puts a lot more stress on the joint. And then the hands are going to come to the floor. Bring your left knee back to meet that right knee. Bend the elbows to slowly, gently lower the heart between the hands. But think chest down as opposed to hips down. The hips stay in line with the spine. And then inhale, Cobra Pose. You could take a baby cobra here if you're not ready for full cobra with no weight in the hands. But if you're ready to come up, make it small so that you're never lifting your hips or thighs off the floor, so that your heart is always ahead of your shoulders. Let the neck be relaxed, so we're not craning the neck or head back, or we're not dropping the chin to the chest either. And then from here, tuck your toes, lift your knees and hips, moving back to down dog. Maybe pedal through the feet again, or just find a moment of stillness. Let's take the right leg into the air, open the hip and bend to the top knee. Point the knee to the sky. Variation of down dog split. And then we're going to look forward and step that right foot all the way forward. So the knee is over the ankle. We want to lower the left knee down, and we're going to take that low lunge on the other side. Sink the hips forward toward the front heel, arms up. Now, fingertips to the floor at the front of the mat. Tuck your back toes under to kind of help you step that back foot up to the front of the mat. Feet can stay about hip distance apart. And this time, instead of rolling up through the spine, we're going to try to root down with the feet and come up with a flat back. The arms might reach out and up as we rise. And then palms together in front of the heart. Let's inhale, reach the arms out and up. Exhale, forward fold over the legs. So earlier we stepped the right foot back. This time we're going to step the left foot back. If you want to lower the knee again, you may, but if you're able to come into a high lunge, bring yourself all the way to crescent pose with the right knee over the ankle. If the knee is off the floor, we want to try to straighten out the knee as opposed to bending it so that that back quad engages, the back heel reaches back, although the heel is not on the floor in this pose. And then let's just take the left hand to the floor inside the right foot, and this can be done whether your knee is down or not. Take the right arm up for another twist. Turn to the floor, plant the palms. Let's take plank pose. Right foot back to meet the left. Shoulders over the wrists, reach through the heels, reach through the head. Core is strong. If plank is challenging for you, you can bring the knees down. This is going to actually take some of the weight off of the wrists. So if the wrists are giving you a problem, this is one option. The other option, if the wrists are really the issue, would be to bring your forearms to the ground. Now from here, maybe do bring those knees down so that you can bend your elbows, lower the heart between the hands again. Extend the feet. Inhale, take a Cobra Pose. And then once again, downward facing dog. Let's take the left leg into the air this time. We're going to open the hip and bend the knees, or a little variation of down dog splits. Let the knee point to the sky as the heel drops to your hips. And then look forward. We're going to step the left foot forward. If you get to the point where that foot just gets kind of caught and it doesn't want to make it to the top of the mat, use your left hand to help you out. So that, again, we get that knee over the ankle. So that situation is that this shin bone is supporting the joint of the knee, and we really want that stability for that joint. Arms up, reach through the back leg. And then we're going to take the twist on the other side. So the right hand's going to come down. Again, this can be done with your back knee on the floor if you need to. And then we're going to step the back foot forward. So rotate yourself back to face your mat, step the back foot forward. This time, let's go ahead and bring the big toes to touch, heels slightly apart. So this is more of our classic standing position. Bring your fingers to your shins, lengthen the head away from the tail. Ardha Uttanasana, flat back, pull the navel in, shoulder blades on your back. And then exhale, fold down towards the legs, Uttanasana, root into the feet, reverse swan dive, come on up, and palms together in front of the heart. Let's take a couple of sun A's here. So follow your breath, take them slow and easy. You can modify with knees to the floor in Cobra, or if you want to take it up a notch here, you can work with Chaturanga and up dog. Inhale, reach the arms out and up. Exhale, fold Uttanasana. Inhale, half lift, Ardha Uttanasana. And then as you exhale, step to plank and lower down. And again, maybe knees come to the floor, maybe not. Inhale, up dog, or stick with Cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Root into the hands, hips high. Take a few breaths here. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, step walker, hop your feet forward. Take a half lift and fold. Reverse the swan dive, come on up, and palms together. We're going to do two more. It wouldn't be a Vin and Yin class if we didn't do the Vin. So the Vinyasa sequence really is founded around this sun A. So we're just going to do a couple more of these, but feel free to modify them if you need to. Let yourself hold down dog for 3 to 5 breaths. Follow the pace of your own breath. So for sure, when I teach classes in person, I see students who do a longer breath than I do, and they just go a little slower, and that's fine. And sometimes there are students whose breath is a little shorter, and they get a little ahead of me. Because the sequence is pretty basic, it's okay if you get ahead. You know where you're going next. When you're ready, inhale, look forward. Exhale, step walker, hop forward. Half lift. Fold Uttanasana. Root down, reverse your swan dive, come up. Exhale, palms together in front of the heart. One more sun A. I'm going to let you take this one on your own. We'll meet back at the top of the mat. And stepping back to the front of the mat in your own time. No rush here. Once you're up though, we're going to step out wide and we're going to take Prostrate Padottanasana. So parallel the feet and let yourself take this nice wide-legged forward fold. Hands between feet. Lean forward toward the balls of the feet. Let your head hang down. And then bring your hands to your waist, float up. Let's turn the right toes open so the front heel and back arch line up, arms out. Coming into triangle pose, Trikonasana. Float on up. Let's stretch back, and as we do so, go ahead and bend your front knee forward so that you're coming into a reverse warrior. Front knee should be over the ankle, upper body stretches back. You can look towards your top fingers. And then we're just going to come out of reverse warrior right into warrior two. So level out the arms, making sure your feet are aligned, and then that the knee is over the ankle, and then you can sink into that front knee without letting that left hip drop forward. It should be level with the right one. Look over your front fingertips. Turn the front palm up. We'll take one more breath, reverse warrior, just to reach back, and then hands to the floor. You can choose to take a vinyasa here. If you've done enough vinyasa for your practice today, just go straight to down dog and give yourself a breath there. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, step, walk, or hop the feet forward. Half lift. Fold, Uttanasana, reverse swan dive, coming up again. And then once again, let's step out wide. We're going to take the hands behind the back and interlace the fingers for a second variation of Prasarita, pulling your shoulder blades together. Let your heart move down and the arms move up and over. And press the feet into the floor to come up. Turn the left toes open, and you can also slightly turn the right toes towards the left foot. Arms out, triangle pose, Trikonasana. Floating up, stretch back as you bend your left knee towards your toes. So a couple breaths in reverse warrior. And then keeping that front knee bent, let your torso go upright, hips level, arms out at shoulder height. Look over the left fingertips, warrior two. So to hold these arms up, I know a lot of times it feels like we're lifting them, and what that does is it tends to pull the shoulders up to the ears. I like to think of it as I'm setting my arms down at the level of the shoulders. And that for me tends to relax my shoulders and let the shoulders relax down. So see if that mental idea works for you. Turn the front palm up, reverse your warrior, and then let's take a vinyasa to get back to down dog. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, step, walk, or hop forward. Half lift and fold and reverse swan dive. Come on up. And I just wanted to do a little bit of simple balance work here. So let's take tree pose. We're going to stand on the right foot, taking the sole of the left foot either to the calf or to the thigh. Now, if balance is tricky for you, you have a couple of options. First, you could just leave your toes on the floor and just put the heel against the calf. The other thing would be to be near a wall so that you could put your hand on a wall if you need that wall to help support you. If your balance is good here though, push the foot and leg against each other, bring your palms together in front of the heart, and then gradually work towards letting the arms extend upward. breathe. And I'm going to turn back to the front of the mat because we're going to move this pose into another one from here. Now, from here, we're going to release the foot from the leg and try to step back long to warrior one. So make this transition nice and slow. The upper body is counterbalancing by dropping down. The front knee is bending so that we can just reach back with that left foot. Place it down, back heel comes down, and then once that back foot is down, come up with the upper body. Warrior one. And Vinyasa. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, step walk or hop. Half lift and fold. Reverse the swan dive. And we're going to do all of that on the second side. So this time standing on the left foot, moving the right foot to the leg for tree pose. Vrikshasana. Stepping back to warrior one, take your time, find the lunge, make sure that knee remains over the ankle, and hold. Vinyasa. So let's drop to our knees. And now we're going to go into the yin portion of our practice. So the first pose we're going to do is saddle pose. Bring your knees together, but separate your feet and sit your hips between your heels. This is also what we would call like Virasana or hero pose. We're going to keep it real passive here though. If you can't easily sit between your feet, you can certainly sit up on a block or a book, something like that. And then feel free to allow yourself to lower back. So maybe coming to your forearms and maybe letting your head fall back. Or if your hips are actually truly fully against the floor, you can allow your upper body to walk back completely, let your head rest, and then just find some stillness here. So in a yin practice, we hold poses for a little bit longer than we would in a vinyasa or a flow class. So we're just going to try to let go. If it becomes too intense, you can always take more weight back up onto your forearms. So don't let yourself go to the point of pain. But that said, because these are deep stretches, you will probably feel some sensation, physical, emotional. Just let yourself experience it. Stay with your breath. We want to avoid pain, but do live in the experience of the pose. support you as you come up. Try to make it as easy as possible. And then bring your hands in front of you. We're going to go to Swan Pose. So we're going to walk the left leg back and then try to shift that right heel forward. This is really kind of what we think of as pigeon stretch, but we're going to try to see if we can go a little deeper. So for a moment, rock to your right hip and move the right shin forward so it's parallel to the edge of the mat. This may be too much for you. We don't want it to hurt the knee. But if possible, try to keep this shin as parallel as possible as you use your hands to support you and lift yourself back up so you're on the top of the back thigh. You might find that that knee rises dramatically, but over time it will start to sink down again. If you need the support of a block or you need to tuck your heel in closer to find stability, go for it. So upright is swan. You can go to sleeping swan by walking the hands forward and folding down. We, again, don't want to roll all of our weight to that right hip, so if you need to tuck the heel in or put something underneath that hip to support you, please feel free, but then just stay and breathe in this pose. Okay, take your weight to bring yourself out of the pose gently, and we're going to switch sides. So you can just move your right knee back and bring the left knee forward. Make sure you're not like sitting on your foot or that your foot's not caught behind you. So again, I encourage you, if you'd like to, roll to your left hip for a moment. This is not where we want to end up, but it can help to move your shin forward. And then maybe even, this is what I like to do, grabbing your foot and stabilizing it as you roll back up so that you're squared forward. You're on the back leg, extending the foot behind you. You can stay upright if you like, or gradually start to fold down. And moment by moment, you might find your body willing to go deeper. So if right now you're supporting yourself with your hands and you're working really hard to keep yourself up, but gradually you feel like, oh, I could go lower, then your hands just need to move out of the way. So maybe you come to your forearms. And then gradually, as you spend some time on your forearms and you start to realize, oh, I could go deeper, but my forearms are propping me up out of the pose, then walk the arms out. So take your time here. We want to try to let go and not do a lot of fidgeting and fussing, but you will need to move to adjust your position as your body requires it. That could also mean bringing yourself back up out of a pose if it gets too intense. Again, we're not looking for pain. You may, however, find sensation. Stay with the breath. Try to stay present. Slowly move that left knee back. Now I'm going to turn sideways on my mat for this next pose. We're going to go into frog pose. And this requires that our knees are real wide. So you may want to go sideways on your mat or fold the edges of your mat or put padding under your knees if it's uncomfortable with your knees on the floor. Take the knees as wide as they'll go and then try to have the feet right behind the knees. So the feet aren't tucked together, they're extending behind you and parallel. And now there's kind of two aims in frog pose. Well, the first is we kind of want to let our hips drop down towards the floor, but think down and back. So kind of towards the floor and back towards your heels as opposed to down and forward. The other thing is to start to drop the upper body down. So hips down and back, chest down towards the ground so that we're sinking in. You should feel this right away, at least I do. So breathe into it, let yourself let go, and just find some stillness here for the next minute or so. Making your way up out of this pose. Take your time, especially if that felt intense. It can take a minute to let those muscles and the joints and the ligaments and the tendons release. And then we're going to come to a seat and we're going to take the feet out nice and wide. So again, you may want to be sideways on your mat here like this. We're going to try to relax the legs so that they're just kind of nice and floppy here. We're not engaging the muscles in a yin practice because we want to actually go deeper than just stretching the muscles and into that more stable and stiff, perhaps, connective tissue. And then when you're ready, you can just let yourself start to fold down through the center. So maybe the hands walk in front of you. We're not going to try to push, pull, or force. We're just going to let gravity do all the work here. If you start to feel like you're kind of like pushing into it, think again of relaxing the muscles of the legs and just letting go. This is a practice about doing less. We're putting ourselves in a position to let go and go deep, but what we're doing, our effort, is very, very small here. Stay with your breath. Try to let go. Coming up out of your fold. And now we're just going to go into a half butterfly, which is very similar to something like a Janu Shirshasana. So let's bend the left knee and tuck the sole of the foot towards that right leg. Once again, leaving the leg really soft and relaxed. Just let the upper body start to fold towards it. If your hands naturally reach the foot, it's okay to grab hold, but what we don't want to do is like strain to get the foot or like pull back on the foot to pull ourselves deeper. We really want to try to keep it soft. If anchoring your hands on the foot feels comfortable and stabilizing, great, but this is about softness and ease. Perhaps even if you can reach the foot, you would choose not to and just let the arms rest on the floor. Breathe here. So come on up, and we're just gonna switch sides. So tucking the right foot in, taking the left leg out, angling the body in that direction, relaxing the left leg, and folding down. let's go ahead and lower to the floor. Just bring the knees into the chest. And we're just going to do a really simple supine twist to both sides. So arms out, drop the knees to the right, turn the head back to the left. Take a few breaths here. And switch sides when you're ready. Then coming back through center. And from here, you can go ahead and just stretch out in Shavasana and give yourself a few minutes in corpse pose. I'm going to come back up to sitting just so I can close this practice with you, although I do encourage you to take that time in final relaxation. Thank you so much for joining me again today. The light in me recognizes and honors the light in you wherever you are. Namaste. Alright, so if you enjoyed this practice, I hope you'll give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to let me know. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, go and do that now. Alright, thank you so much for joining me again, and I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.